These three West African countries just came together to fling off a mutual colonial tyrant and dictator. Let's get into it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell for more content. Now let's jump right in. So the leaders of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have decided to form an alliance, a pact, a security and economic pact. And there are people who are wondering if this is going to affect other collectives that have been put in place in the region, specifically the G5 Sahel group, which consisted of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, and also Chad and Mauritania. So I'm reading from an article on DW. Does the new Sahel Defense Pact threaten the G5 Sahel? The decision by coup leaders in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger to ditch the France-supported G5 Sahel group could mean its end, some experts warned. The three states are former colonies of France and are all ruled by military juntas following coups, the most recent of which took place in Niger, where soldiers in July ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. Mali's junta leader Assimi Goïta on Saturday announced the signing of a charter establishing the so-called Alliance of Sahel States, which he said would establish an architecture of collective defense and mutual assistance. Burkina Faso's interim president Ibrahim Traoré and Niger's de facto leader Abdourahamane Chiani were also present at the signing of the charter, which states that its objective is to create an architecture of collective defense and mutual support between the contracting parties. So I want to stop there and just talk about what that means. Basically, the three countries that have recently had coups and are now being ruled by their military governments with the blessing of their people have decided to come together in light of this threat of French aggression on them and the desire to fling France and France's colonialism off of them. I'm going to stop using the term neo-colonialism for what is actually happening with France and pretty much all of its so-called former colonies. It's extremely exploitative. It has never stopped being. And the fact that France and the European Union, with the European Union's blessing and backing, thinks that they have a right to interfere in the sovereign nation. So these people are not seen by the West as sovereign nations. If they were, we would not even be having this conversation. If they were seen as sovereign nations with the ability to self-actualize and do what is best for their people, we would not even be having this conversation. It simply wouldn't be happening. So the Europeans backing the French have decided that these countries still need to be governed, and that's colonialism. So we're going to stop calling it neo-colonialism. What France is doing and has done is colonialism straight front and center. Any military aggression on a sovereign nation who has done nothing to France, by the way, other than ask them to leave and stop doing business with them. That's all they've done. They haven't attacked France. They haven't invaded France. France is now an invading, occupying force. And the only crime that these countries have committed is asking another group of people, a sovereign nation, to get out of their sovereign nation. And that, for the West, stated clearly by the European Union and France, that is a provocation. So to me, it seems that these people feel that they are, in fact, governing these countries, and that is colonialism. Back to this particular issue, it's clear that these three countries are thinking long term. They're playing the long game. They've basically said, oh, well, your aid, we don't need your aid. We don't want your aid. Your sanctions, it's horrible what you're doing to the people of these regions. You claim that you care about the people. The people want us to be here, and still you sanction them, so that's fine. And we know in the future when we get our stuff together who to do business with and who not to, okay? That's what it boils down for me. So moving on, it says, what does the AES mean for the G5 Sahel? Mali's Foreign Affairs Minister, Abdoulaye Diop, told reporters that the AES alliance will be a combination of military and economic efforts between the three countries, and priority will be given to the fight against terrorism in all three countries. Sadiq Abba, a journalist who reports on the Sahel region, told DW that the new alliance almost definitely spells the death of the G5 Sahel group. Mutaru Mumumi Mukhtar, executive director of the West African Center for Counter-Extremism, agreed, stressing that The breakaway by Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger was long expected. In all the three countries, there's a strong anti-French sentiment, and this has been building over some time, he told DW. And at the moment, we are seeing significant actions that are taken to get the G5 forces out of or sidelined, and also French operations and French efforts out of the space. Mukhtar doesn't see how much G5 Sahel forces would be able to do under these circumstances. And eventually we're going to see that being off the table in terms of dealing with the threats in these spaces, Mukhtar said. Chad and Mauritania, the other two members of the G5 Sahel, were left out of the new alliance signed in Mali's capital, Bamako. So I won't stop there. And it's pretty obvious that the G5 Sahel, supported by France, is finished. I mean, it's finished. These countries have pretty much severed every tie with France. They don't want your military. They don't want your help, your so-called help with fighting anybody in their country. They don't want your business. These people don't want your business because your business is raggedy. You know, you were stealing their uranium for years on years on years on decades. And this is allegedly post-colonialism. So you're stealing their uranium at 80 cents per kilogram when the rest of the world is paying 200 euros per kilogram. Now they done raised the price on you. You think you have a right to come into their home and take their things for whatever change you feel like flinging at them. That's basically what France has said, and that's what they're saying. And with the backing of the European Union. So we can't leave that part out. And Europeans in general have been conspicuously quiet about their governing bodies seeking to invade nations under the guise of helping them in some way. You know, behaving as if these people can't govern themselves, actively stating that they can't govern themselves or they don't know what's best, which is really code for they're not doing what's best for us. They don't know what they're doing because they can't see it's not best for us. You know, they're only thinking about themselves, and what's best for them isn't really the best. It's not the best. That's effectively what's going on here. There's no other way around it. So get down in the comments. Let me know what you think about this. Is this the end of the G5 Sahel? Will the other two countries follow suit? Will they fling France off and form a bigger alliance in the Sahel bloc? These Sahel countries need to first, in their individual ways, fling France off. France got to go. France is finished here on the continent. France got to go. France is finished on the continent. And they got to go. The people don't want you. The people are done with your thievery. You've been doing it so long and out in the open that it seems to be a shock for France and the European Union. How could these people not want us here stealing? It's no matter that we're stealing their resources. Most of them don't even have electricity. The vast majority of Nigerians, one of the poorest countries economically on earth, at least 75% of the population is functioning without electricity, while their stolen uranium, is powering at least 30-40% of French lights, funding French efforts in France. They're still being forced to use France-issued CFA franc when France is on the euro. It's a mess. France is on the euro, but they're still issuing CFA franc to all these free nations. And those free nations have to pay France a minting fee on top of the fact of keeping the vast majority of their yearly income in France's bank, while France is on the euro. So just, a conversation for another time. Get in the comments. Let me know what you think. Will Chad and Mauritania follow suit? Will they fling France off? Will they have their own coups? Or will they have changing of the guards, however that comes about in their own countries? Whatever you think, get down in the comments and let me know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share. And I'll see you in the next video.